Were you ready for the move last night in Globex for the big move down once we broke 6,100? The biggest narrative in the market for the last few years has been AI and especially Nvidia. The last few quarters, we've seen a slowing in Nvidia's rate of change for earnings growth. And this is a known catalyst. So people always protect themselves into the earnings and into FOMC and into Trump speaking, as we saw last week. The issue for the market comes when the black swan events materialize. And those are the dangerous moments, the ones nobody can predict. Nobody had any protection heading into last night. And that is when we can see the bigger moves. So when everyone's aware a storm is coming, the preparation can limit the damage. But when one pops out of nowhere, it can catch everyone off guard. And our students were ready and captured a lot of the move last night. I hope you did as well. Just a quick reminder before we dive in too deep here that derivatives trading is inherently risky and past performance is not indicative of future returns. So following up a little bit from our COT video last night is that Systematic Strategies had bought back 20% of their portfolios into this move higher. And if you look today, they bought $40 billion up here on Wednesday, Thursday. Today, they're going to be selling 20 to 30 billion. So that is a large loss on their capital. And again, this is why we always want to measure and map who's in the market so we can understand the flows because it's all just a business. That was liquidity for the market makers, and now they get to shake everybody back out. A few other pieces here that we can dive into a little bit. Make sure that you're paying attention to your key areas on other instruments. We laid this out on the 22nd at 9:30 in the morning, right at the open, that the key level on the VIX was 1715. If we saw upside on the VIX, we'd see downside in the market. And if you look last night on the VIX futures, we broke that at 7 o'clock p.m., retested at 10 and 11 p.m. And both of those were your signals for the downside. So when we look at the market, we knew there was still upside possible. 1620 was our big level, and that became the low on Friday. When that can't break and we can't continue a strong trend, we start looking for the opposite. We look range bound, then we'll look for the opposite to take hold, and that's what played out. And we provide this information for our students. They know where to look. Do you? Are you getting that prepared for the market? If we look at what's happening from our systematics, you can see that when we see this red over the green, things get a little more nerve-wracking. So this is our, we won't get into what exactly this is. This is our positioning for our systematics and insurance funds, and this is the S&P closing price. You can see when the red is over the green, there is more risk in the market. And so what we've been wanting to watch and going over with our students daily or weekly is, do we come back under and start the next rally, or is this just a short-term bounce liquidity move to a brand new all-time high while the risk window is still open? And today we're going to see this begin to rise again. The red is going to continue to go up, which again is why we're seeing the downside. So we are in a precarious environment right now, and then we can go into our other aspects that we look at. So today, our biggest level is going to be our line in the sand, which is right here at 6042. So we mentioned this last night, under 6100. If we 6150 to 6100 was where we'd look rotational. Under 6100, we start looking for downside. We break our line in the sand, we start really looking for further downside. So there was plenty of room from our Friday line in the sand at 6072, last night's line in the sand at 6040 to make money down to 5950. And if you're not capturing part of that or knowing where to look in the market for these risk parameters and how safe your capital is or your day trading capital for what direction you want to be positioned, then it's time to level up your game and really make sure that you understand what's happening in the market and learn how to follow the big money. So for today, we have market makers in risk absorbing mode, which means wider swings and more directional price action. Fund managers, we're back to 85% invested in this move last week, as were our insurance funds and systematics. And both of those are now going to get wiped out. So we laid this out last night that funds were set to lose billions. And sure enough, that's what they're coming into on a Monday morning. And they have to chase performance to put out on their prospectus. If you are an individual trader, guess what? You don't have to. You get to trade when you're supposed to. You can have the advantage of time and patience on your side. And that is what we really want to watch for, um, and pay attention to, is how these other strategies in the market that have billions and trillions in assets under management, how they are positioned, because that's all that this is moving money from one pot to another, from one set of hands to another, just like a big game of poker. So for today, we're looking for a rotational price action between 60.26 and 61.33. That's a wide range. I don't expect that actually to quite get there. The big key is 60.42. Do we fail? Then we're looking for much more downside. And that would be until that gets back over. We want to look for bigger moves, both up and down, underneath this. And if we get back over, then we go back to risk compression, and 60.76 will likely be our upper target today. But we will have rotational price action expected in this area. Staying under our line in the sand, our pivot is 59.77 with a target of 59.34 today. Now, again, if we go back to our weekly plan from our COT, we've made a very large chunk of this move. And if needed, we'll update the levels midweek, but 58.98 is still our downside target once we broke our rotational levels. So if you guys like these videos, if they're helping you, or if you want to learn more, check out our website for our Discord offerings and course offerings for the upcoming courses. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And if there's other topics you want to go over, please put those in the comments. Have a great day, everybody.